First at 4, the mayor of Windsor, Canada, promising new action to reopen the Ambassador Bridge. This is a live look from Southwest Detroit. We're going to talk about the mayor's promise and what comes next. Hey, Paul.
Yeah, hey, Karen. We've had a few very light snow showers, flurries out there, but by tomorrow morning's rush hour, the radar is going to look a lot more like that. I will be back to explain in just a few minutes.
As long as you have this, it's not too late to order flowers for your sweetie for Valentine's Day, but wait one moment.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, it is day 4 of the standoff at Michigan's Canadian border, but change could be coming. Right now, traffic is moving into the U.S. again. It was stopped overnight, but trucks are still not getting into Canada. Port Huron's Blue Water Bridge is backed up with traffic that can't cross the border in Detroit. Protesters who say they're angry over vaccine mandates for Canadian truckers are bringing commerce to a standstill. It's a situation that's putting auto production on hold at some plants. Today, Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer calling on Canada to reopen traffic on the Ambassador. Her statement says, in part, the blockade is having a significant impact on Michigan's working families who are just trying to do their jobs. Our communities and automotive manufacturing and agriculture businesses are feeling the effects. It's hitting paychecks and production lines. That is unacceptable. Now, it looks like the mayor of Windsor may have been listening to that request. He is ready to take new action to stop the protesters. Local 4's Rob Maloney has that part of the story. And Rob, the mayor is taking a tougher line today.
Yeah, hi, Karen. We're here at the what amounts to the entranceway to the bridge. Normally, you would see 18-wheelers lined up there along with cars looking to get onto the bridge and getting their papers looked at and paying tolls. Now, we'll come around this way and we'll show you that there is quite literally nothing happening on the bridge. The only vehicle traffic up there has been International Bridge Company trucks. Now, what everybody is waiting for in all of this is a court hearing that may or may not happen this afternoon. Mayor Drew Dilkins from Windsor was asking a court in Windsor to offer an injunction that would allow police to move in and end this. And let's hear from the mayor now in terms of what he is doing and why.
That individuals on site are trespassing on municipal property and, if need be, will be removed to allow for the safe and efficient movement of goods across the border. Yesterday, I spoke to the importance of a peaceful resolution, and I still remain hopeful that goal can be achieved. Additional resources are being deployed by the Ontario Provincial Police to help bring about a negotiated solution.
Now, Matthew Maroon, who is the chairperson of the International Bridge Company, put out a statement this afternoon, a rather lengthy one, and this is only a small part of it, but he said, quote, "This cannot continue any longer. On behalf of all of those whose jobs and livelihoods depend on the goods that cross this bridge, I ask the Canadian government to take action and end the blockade. After the blockade is cleared, we need to shift our thinking and recognize that these crossings are too important to be subjected to politics and short-term thinking that compromises the ability of commerce to flow and jeopardizes our jobs and our shared economy." And so there are a lot of cries. In fact, we're hearing from Michigan's congressional delegation this afternoon, Governor Gretchen Whitmer herself calling on the Canadian Premier to do something about this. And so the waiting begins to see if, in fact, that court hearing happens and whether they get that injunction and then what happens from there. Reporting live in Detroit, Rod Maloney, back to you.
All right, it's going to be an interesting next few hours as we wait for that court hearing. Thank you, Rod. Well, there were more traffic backups on the Canadian border with the state of New York overnight. This traffic cam video shows how trucks got backed up on the Peace Bridge around 9 o'clock last night. At one point, traffic delays were clocked at 2 hours. We are told the travel advisory was canceled by about 9:30 this morning. We'll keep you posted on all of this, of course. Now, the bridge backup certainly won't help consumer prices, which were already on the rise in the month of January. Inflation has increased to 7.5% for the month of January. That is the highest annual increase since February of 1982. The latest release of the monthly consumer price index shows price increases were most pronounced in food, electricity, and shelter. The rise in consumer prices appears to be sticking around in spite of predictions they would be temporary. Meantime, given that news, let's take a quick look at where the Dow Jones is finishing today, down 526 points. Stocks had been edging lower after the inflation report over concerns the Fed would have to get more aggressive about raising interest rates to fight the rising inflation. The city of Detroit cuts the ribbon on a new affordable housing and retail project. The Parker Durand is a $22.5 million development that replaces a vacant lot at the intersection of Van Dyke and Kercheval. Residents will have access to an in-unit washer and dryer, new appliances, also a rooftop deck. It features retail spaces for small businesses as well.
We are going to be able to provide housing here, new and very state-of-the-art housing, at income levels that the neighborhood can afford. And really, we can't exceed 120% of area median income, which means that everybody who lives here can afford to work and live in the neighborhood.
Officials say a one-bedroom apartment will cost about $750 a month. State-of-the-art and affordable. Metro Detroit and around the country, Americans are facing a new decision on face masks and where they're required. Michigan's Ingham County will rescind 2 emergency orders, including mask requirements in schools on February 19th. On the other hand, Wayne, Washtenaw, and Oakland still require masks in school. And Oakland County is about to distribute 800,000 free KN95 masks starting today. Health experts say a well-fitted face mask does offer protection against the COVID-19 virus, especially indoors. But as cases fall, we are seeing states like Nevada, New York, and Illinois ending their mask mandates for indoor settings, making it increasingly a personal decision instead of a public mandate. First of all, we're keeping an eye on stories that are making news around the world. Russia and the U.S. both have troops on the move as each side bulks up its forces. During a showdown over a possible Russian invasion of Ukraine, Russia entered a new phase of military drills with 30,000 troops in Belarus, which is just north of the Ukrainian capital. Russia has denied its plans to invade. Meantime, the U.S. has been moving troops from Germany into Romania over the past 24 hours. U.S. leaders call it a move to reinforce the NATO alliance. Russia wants a promise, though, that Ukraine never becomes part of that alliance. But the Western nations have said they won't budge on that request. Britain's Prince Charles has tested positive for COVID-19 for the second time, and now there are some concerns about his contact with his mother, Queen Elizabeth. The prince is triple vaccinated, but recently met with dozens of people at a reception. The British Press Association says Charles recently also met with his mom, the 95-year-old Queen, but she's not displaying any COVID symptoms. The prince is currently self-isolating. He first tested positive for COVID back in March of 2020. Here at home, you can feel that drop in temperature since yesterday with the cold. We can see snow that might complicate, tomorrow morning's drive. Paul.
Yeah, hey, I'll tell you, Karen, this is it's not the snowstorm that ate Detroit, but the timing is what's just not good. We're going to get some snow right in time of that morning rush hour tomorrow. And as expected today, temperatures held right around freezing. Wind chills right now are in the 20s, so it's a chilly day, but not an obnoxiously cold day. This is typical winter stuff. Storm Tracker 4 showing nothing, at least locally on radar, showing up. We have a few flurries, a few light snow showers here, but nothing upstream here. It's not till you get way back into the Dakotas that we see our next snowmaker. So let's talk about it. We have a lot of clouds around tonight, and again, there are some flurries that are falling from some of those clouds. And then as we get into the later night period, between about 4 and 7 a.m., we're going to start to see this snow encroach upon the area. And look at the timing. It's here for rush hour, and it's not a long duration snow like that one we had last week. This one's going to last a couple, maybe 3 hours in any one spot. And the other thing we're watching is the potential for some rain to mix in, especially from Detroit southward. You'll see that reflected when I show you the snow total map in a minute. But the model's only showing it here way in the far southeast. I think it may be a little farther northwest than that. But this first of 2 cold fronts goes through during the afternoon. That takes all the moisture with it. But there's not much of an air mass change behind this cold front. But not all cold fronts are created equal, and this one is certainly not created equal. This is an Arctic cold front. This second one comes in overnight tomorrow night. A few snow showers with it, but that's not the big deal. The big deal is that that's the front edge of Arctic air that is going to be with us all through the weekend. And as we get into Saturday, it's going to be a lot of clouds, maybe some sun. I think there'll probably be a little more cloud cover than what we're seeing here, but there'll be some sun. We'll call it partial sun for Saturday, but wind chills are going to be around 0 Saturday afternoon. All right, notice on the snow map, we're looking at maybe an inch or so for a general average accumulation across the area. But when you get to the south, where again that rain might mix in, we're talking about Metro Airport over to Adrian up to the city of Detroit, we're seeing diminishing amounts as we get down to the state line because of that potential mixing. All right, with the rain. All right, so 26 the low, but that's after midnight. Temperatures are going to go up toward morning, and by the time we start the day tomorrow, it's going to be in the low 30s, getting into the upper 30s for a high, and we're going to have wind, though. It's going to be breezy with gusts 30 to 35 miles per hour in the afternoon. And then on the 7-day, here's the Arctic air for the weekend. We'll be well down into the single digits on Sunday. Cuddling cold, as Chuck Gatica used to say, on Valentine's Day. 22 the high, 5 the low. Then we start a warming trend, Karen, back into the 40s by the middle of next week. And by the way, because I want to end with something really positive, our sunset tonight is at 6 o'clock. First time we've had a sunset at 6 o'clock or after since last November.
Oh, spring is not far away. That's
yes.
what you're saying. That's what you're saying. All right, thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. All right, so have you ever been out to dinner and then you struggle a little bit to split the check with a bunch of friends? Well, now Facebook is getting into the business of making that easier for you. It's rolling out a new split the bill feature in Messenger. The upgrade was previously in a test phase, so to use the feature, you'll need to use Facebook Payments, and that requires you share payment information, including a debit or a credit card, if you feel comfortable to do so, of course. By the way, Help Me Hank would tell you it's safer to use your credit card, as you know. Once your info is entered, you can put all the payers into a group chat, tap an icon on the screen, and then hit split payments, and Facebook does the rest for you. Just in case you don't have on your calendar in front of you, we are here to remind you Valentine's Day is Monday. And that means if you have a sweetie, and you might want to think about ordering some flowers now, but as Paula Tutman shows us, there's more to think about than just spreading the love.
No, it's not too late to order flowers for your sweetie for Valentine's Day, which is Monday, by the way. I know this is a weekend with a national holiday, but it's not too late as long as you have this. But before you use this, wait a minute. No matter where you are or where you're sending flowers to, your local florist is asking you to take one more extra step before ordering. Just one.
Call us directly. It's very easy to click a button on the internet, but oftentimes people are getting what we call order gatherers, which are just computer-based order takers.
Roz Mishley is the owner of Village Florist in downtown Romeo. She's been doing this for 35 years, and she'll tell you that while Mother's Day is the busiest week of the year for her, Valentine's Day will be the busiest day. And she says how you order your flowers makes a difference in the product you get and the community you support. She will tell you the flower business isn't always rosy. You gotta love this gig to do it well, because it is hard, it's expensive, and you're dealing with a seriously finite shelf life.
Especially this time of year, but based on the cost of product, flowers and the hard goods like vases and such, labor, and now labor's way through the roof, location, rent, mortgage, so everybody's expenses, but in this business, with the fresh product, which is perishable, you have to do what you can do.
Online ordering has gotten pretty tricky. You might think you're ordering from your local establishment because web designers have gotten pretty tricky with mirroring websites.
They can hijack phone numbers and addresses, and they always say, we're your local florist. We can deliver anywhere in 24 hours. And when you see that, you should know that they cannot do that.
And even if you do get a reputable online company, many are order takers and farm out those orders to the little guy to fill.
Taking a large, what they would call a service fee, and they pay a minimum for flowers. Well, they send us that minimum for flowers. They don't send us that service fee. So they receive that big chunk of change, and we have to fill the order, or are asked to fill the order for that minimal amount. So it's kind of a lose situation for the florist, who actually has to buy all the product and pay the employees, and we're not sitting behind a computer.
Service fees can cost local florists up to 30% of the price. So consider this. If you order online to a farm-out flower service and that order costs, let's just say a total of $108.90 for a dozen roses, the local florist who actually fills that order they'll only get a maximum of $76, depending on the fee structure. But think about this. If you spend only $76 at your local florist, not only do all of those profits stay in the community, but you'll likely actually end up getting more for your money by paying less.
You are getting quality product. You are getting product that is brought in, say, for Valentine's Day. We are still cutting product that has just come to us, all right? And that product will go out the door, whether it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's all within days of us receiving it. Anybody else, I can't really say what they're doing. They probably are using older flowers and not getting the quality.
And so that one extra step is, even though you find online, make a call. Ask for the physical address of the shop. And if it's within 5 or say 10 miles of where you're sending the flowers, you can be satisfied that you're dealing with a local brick and mortar. That one extra step actually goes a really long way.
Call their local florist. We want them to make sure that they are getting a flower shop, whether it's in Washington, D.C. or Washington Township, Michigan. Make that phone call. Don't rely on your fingers to push a button.
All right, thank you, Paula. By the way, if you are wondering about supply chain issues, yes, some florists are having them with items like vases. We're all suffering. All right, before we let you go, here is a reminder. We are streaming a special edition of Local 4 News every night at 10 p.m. on clickondetroit.com and Local 4 Plus. That news update will also be streaming on the Local 4 Plus app, which you can download to your smart TV, Roku, Fire Stick, or Apple TV. It's easy, it's free, just like downloading an app for your phone, so you can see Devin and Kim tonight at 10, or join them on Local 4 News at 11 as well. The Winter Olympics are on Local 4 right now. They run through until the top of the hour, and then you can see Local 4 News at 5 and 6. So thanks so much for joining us here online. And as we leave you, here is the story Jason Colthorpe has been working on for tonight at 5.
So there were so many shoes in this locker, I didn't think anybody would miss them. And the next day, it was in every newspaper in the country. I expected the police to knock on the door at any minute. It's something that I really didn't speak about outside of my family for a lot of years.
In 1988, the Detroit Pistons were shooting for their first ever NBA title when something happened that caused a frenzy from coast to coast.
I'm the one that grabbed Adrian Dantley's shoes.
The untold story behind that frenzy and the reunion, 34 years in the making. Today on Local 4.